on that. I mean, I've heard that. I heard that 2 days ago, so I'll check on that. I'll take a good, strong look at that. But I will tell you this. We now have created a military, the likes of which we've never had before, in terms of equipment. The equipment that we have, the weapons that we have, and hopefully, hope to God, we never have to use them.
Okay, so I have a lot of thoughts on this as I've been reviewing.
Mr. President, as we wrap up here, are there UFOs?
Well, I'm going to have to check on that. I mean, I've heard that. I heard that 2 days ago, so I'll check on that. I'll take a good, strong look at that. But I will tell you this. We now have created a military, the likes of which we've never had before, in terms of equipment. The equipment that we have, the weapons that we have, and hopefully, hope to God, we never have to use them.
Okay, so I have a lot of thoughts.
Round object was hovering silently over the missile silo and shining a light down onto it.
And then from this dead stop, it shoots off to the east, just like now you see it, now you don't.
This planet is being visited by beings from another world.
Some out-of-this-world happenings at the National Press Club have lit up the internet this morning. Everyone is clamoring to read about 7 former members of the U.S. Air Force presenting their findings on UFOs. Among their claims, aliens from out of this world are taking a keen interest in nuclear weapon sites. The group documented what they call visits to nuclear sites during a period of 3 decades, and they encouraged the government to acknowledge alien visits to Earth.
The dummy warhead and the package flew on down range. We were all celebrating the fact that we had seen a thing and accomplished the mission. When I got back to the base with the film, the next day I was called into the office of Major Florence J. Mansman. And there were 3 people in gray suits standing in there. There was a 16-millimeter camera and a screen set up. Major Mansman said, "Lieutenant, sit down and watch this." And he turned down the lights, turned on the camera, on the projector, and the film came on. And I recognized it as the film that we'd shot at Big Sur the previous day. Toward the end of the flight, I was looking at Major Mansman saying, "Pretty good stuff, huh, sir?" And suddenly he said, "Just watch this." And as I watched, the warhead, the dummy warhead, the chaff that was put out in front of it as a decoy to deflect the Russian anti-missile tracking radar. Everything was flying along, and suddenly, in the same direction this stuff was flying at about 8,000 miles an hour, an object came into the frame, shot a beam of light at the warhead, flew up to the top, shot another beam of light at the warhead, flew around the direction it was flying, shot another beam of light at the warhead, flew down, shot another beam of light at the warhead, and flew out the same way it came in.
Well, I don't see. Why didn't you see this when you were shooting it?
Well, it was 600 to 800 miles away from us.
Oh, I got you. They confiscated.
Well, first of all, the Major Mansman said to me, "What was that? Were you guys screwing around up there?" I said, "No, sir." And he said, "Then tell me what that was." And I said, "We got a UFO." And he said, "Lieutenant, you are never to speak of this again. As far as you're concerned, this didn't happen."
Hold on, guys. I'll be right back. I gotta take a break. Okay, that's weird. You think there's a national defense plan for it?
So are you not positing the idea that those vehicles contain, beings who are, maybe like us?
If I only go along with government images, and if you want to know people kind of thing, there is the ship that picked up the Voyager capsule at Alameda Naval Shipyard, and they have a picture there of I think it's the Apollo flight that Buzz and Neil were on. But anyway, there is one image there that shows black people getting off.
So people with dark skin getting off.
Not dark, black.
Black skin.
Really black. Yeah.
Were they tall?
Yes.
Very tall. How tall? Do you know?
Well, they got up the doorway. I don't know how high that is, but
Well, what?
say 7 feet would be probably a conservative estimate.
Have you heard about Clark McClellan's statement about that?
No,
Oh, you haven't? Have you ever been in touch with him?
no.
No? So people with dark skin getting off,
Not dark, black,
black skin,
really black. You know,
were they tall?
yes,
Very tall? How tall?
the Apollo flight that Buzz and Neil were on. But anyway, there is one image there that shows black people getting off.
So people with dark skin getting off,
Not dark, black,
black skin,
really black. You know,
were they tall?
yes,
Very tall? How tall? Do you know?
well, they got up the doorway. I don't know how high that is, but
Well, what?
say 7 feet would be probably a conservative estimate.
Have you heard about Clark McClellan's statement about that?
No.
Oh, you haven't? Have you ever been?
Increased investment in hypersonic weapon systems by 50%, and we're accelerating development of hypersonic system that can fly 5 times the speed of sound. That's pretty quick. In space, the United States is going to do Colonel Glenn proud. We are finally going to lead again. You see what's happening? You see the rockets going up left and right. You haven't seen that for a long time. Very soon we're going to Mars. You wouldn't have been going to Mars if my opponent won. And I can tell you, you wouldn't even be thinking about it. You wouldn't be thinking. My new national strategy for space recognizes that space is a warfighting domain, just like the land, air, and sea. We may even have a Space Force, develop another one. Space Force. We have the Air Force, we'll have the Space Force. We have the Army, the Navy. You know, I was saying it the other day because we're doing a tremendous amount of work in space. I said, maybe we need a new force. We'll go with the Space Force. And I was not really serious. And then I said, what a great idea. Maybe we'll have to do that. That could happen. That could be the big breaking story. Look at all those people back there. Look at that.
To prepare for the next battlefield, where America's best and bravest will be called to deter and defeat a new generation of threats to our people, to our nation. The time has come to establish the United States Space Force. As President Trump has said in his words, it is not enough to merely have an American presence in space. We must have American dominance in space, and so we will. And that's precisely why we're beginning the process of establishing the Space Force as the 6th branch of our armed forces. Just as in the past, when we created the Air Force, establishing the Space Force is an idea whose time has come. The space environment has fundamentally changed in the last generation. What was once peaceful and uncontested is now crowded and adversarial.
America in 2019, civilians and military personnel were witnessing bizarre craft. In Texas, 13 reported sightings of flying discs. In Florida, 27 fireballs. 40 sightings of floating triangles over California.
What the is that, homie?
But in North Carolina, there were over 50 sightings of something else. Glowing orbs.
Howdy there, Sean. Good to see you. Oh, yeah, you too, man. What a gorgeous day. This is beautiful, man.
In September 2019, Sean was heading home after a fishing trip.
Coming in, instead of well, so I stopped, looked, listened, smelled. You know, the basic instincts are follow me forever. I felt it was following me. I was traveling about 5 knots, 20, 30 seconds.
Yeah, that's deliberate.
Yeah.
I mean, usually if it's starting to go in front of you or behind you, but you said it matched your speed.
Yeah. That thing took off faster than anything I've ever seen. Like it traveled as fast as, a tracer rail.
That's fast.
Yeah.
Thousands of feet per second.
Yeah.
Even bullets, when they break the sound barrier, they have that crack, that miniature sonic
No
boom.
sound, yeah.
That's what I wanted to ask you.
Absolutely no sound at all. Or thrust.
Right.
Like power thrust or something.
Sean is a trained observer. He's just wired differently.
Okay, we see some major lies here. We call them dead red-handed. This is Habakkuk 3:3. It clearly says, God came from Teman, and the Holy One from Mount Perim. His glory covered the heavens, and the earth was filled of his praise. Now, we go into this. You go into the Hebrew. And what does it say? From. You see, from Teman was not in there. They added from Teman. Because he's coming to Teman. That's the whole point. He's coming to Teman. Because when you get to the end of the chapter, it says he's going to invade. So he's not coming from anywhere. But when you go into it, you get a clear understanding. Teman, south, and it's a proper masculine noun. The son of Eliphaz, grandson of Esau. You see, one of the dukes of Edom. Now we clearly see it's located on the east of Idumea, Salakia, and it's the name of 2 Edomites. Now in verse 8, we see in Habakkuk that the chariots was coming to save somebody. And he says in 14, it said, their rejoicing was as to devour the poor secretly. So they was secretly trying to destroy the Israelites. And at the bottom of 16, it said, he will invade them, that means the Edomites, with his troops. Okay, so when you go to Revelation 19 and 19, clearly said, and I saw the beasts and the kings of the earth and their armies gathered together to make war against him that sat on the horse or the chariot of salvation, and against his army. He will invade with troops. That's the space invasion that these people is getting ready to with their Space Force and all these things, because they know it's time. They know the scrolls, they know the prophecies, and they see you unidentified phenomena out there, and they know it's coming, and it's here. I'm going to leave it there. All praise to Yahweh, Ba'ashem, Yahweh Shah, Ba'ashem, Kakadash, double honor to the elders pushing the truth, peace of the elect, Shalom. The kingdom is at hand.